there is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Yo, peace and love, everybody. Okay, first things first, we got to understand something. The reason that the melanated Negro in America is the one doing this is because, newsflash, I used to rule the entire world. I never had, like a lot of you other groups and nations of people, I understand why you guys coddle and suck onto the peckerwood or the white man or whatever you guys want to call him. I understand, because without him, you guys are dilapidated. The problem is I never needed him. You know what I'm saying? Whether you want to talk about America or Africa, every time I met him, he was broke. You know what I'm saying? When the pilgrims came, they were sick. They ain't had no food. They was broke. All right. When they came to the shores of Africa, you know what I'm saying? Africa had all the land. They had all the gold. It was broke. So I don't trip off Mr. Charlie like that. I'm not looking at him like, oh, what is Oz going to do without him? You know what I mean? And this is being live on Facebook and YouTube. So, man, why is Martin Luther King the worst? Well, a lot of people for years have been talking about the Rothschilds. And they talk about how, they're evil and they're bloodsuckers and they're vampires and they leech the earth of oil and they're a part of the big Illuminati and all that stuff. Okay. Martin Luther King can't be legit. He can't be a good person because he was cool with these motherfuckers in their prime. So that means he already knew. But that's not enough for people. People feel like, oh, well, you just talking, whatever. All right. You're not going to be able to see it on Facebook because I can only use StreamYard at once. I can't use it at two different places. So at least people on Facebook can hear it. Okay, check this out. I want you to listen. Gotta get past this commercial.
I think I shared this story with you some time ago, but it's kind of bubbled up to the surface over at Jezebel. Piece by Julian Escobedo, press anti-war left and black people. And this is who was writing a book, interviewed John Ehrlichman. And this was back in 1994. But he's now writing about this. He says, at that time, I was writing a book about the politics of drug prohibition. I started to ask Ehrlichman a series of earnest, wonky questions that he impatiently waved away. You want to know what this is all about? He asked with the bluntness of a man who, after public disgrace and a stretch in federal prison, had little left to protect. And now quoting John Ehrlichman, this was Richard Nixon's right-hand man. Quote, the Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies. We knew
1968. You got to remember, MLK don't make it out the 60s. Let's keep listening.
we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or to be black. But by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then heavily criminalizing both, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. And then the author, Dan Baum, writes, I must have looked shocked. Ehrlichman just shrugged. Then he looked at his watch, handed me a signed copy of his steamy new spy novel, The Company, and led me to the door. Wow. To watch more.
So that was Nixon's right-hand man, confirming that in 1968, they started a war on drugs, that they were going to use the anti-war left and the blacks. 1968. When did Martin Luther King get assassinated? 1968. But when did Martin Luther King and Nixon first meet? I just want y'all to see this. I want y'all to see this, guys. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, then you've already seen the picture I put up. But if you're on YouTube, that's it right there. That's them right there. Where was I at? When did they first meet? King, when he was 28 and famous for his role in the Montgomery bus boycott, met Nixon in March 1957 in Africa. In Ghana. Out of all places, they met in Ghana. Okay. Later on, as Negroes in America, what was the story they gave you? Because in the 50s, they didn't have that story. And in the 60s, they didn't have that story. And in the 70s, they didn't have that story. In the 80s, they didn't have that story. All the way into the 90s, 2000, after these fake DNA tests. Then they tell you you're from Ghana. But Nixon and Martin Luther King had already met in Ghana back in 57. Now, I know what y'all thinking. Y'all like, well, how you going to say that, they didn't assassinate him? Like, how do we know that they didn't kill him? Because Martin Luther King was already connected. Right now, I'm showing a picture of him and Jacob Rothschild. They've already been connected. They've already been friends. Okay. So when does the war on drugs start? The war on drugs starts 1971, June of 1971. So 69, 70, 71, 3 years later. What else did Nixon do? He got us off the gold standard. So you heard the guy tell you that Nixon's right-hand man, who was the CIA operative or employee, they purposely brought in heroin and they prosecuted these hippies that were anti-war. Now I can hear people already. They're like, well, that's Nixon. That's not everybody else. Hold up. Right after Nixon comes Gerald Ford, then Jimmy Carter, then Ronald Reagan. How did the war on drugs become Ronald Reagan's problem? Now, maybe because we're young, I understand that, but they called him Tricky Dicky for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 70s. So it's not like the 70s cats that were saying Nixon was against black people were lying. They weren't. He literally purposely brought in heroin. You guys act like the military is not a part of them. So when you hear black people talking about, yeah, they used to sneak in heroin through the dead bodies, who do you think they worked for? People like Anthony from Dead Presidents, or his homeboy, people like Frank Lucas, all these dudes that were bringing in dope through these dead bodies. How are you going to say they didn't work for the system? I know people are like, well, Frank Lucas got locked up. What does that mean? Just like who else got popped? Freeway Rick Ross got popped. But what did they say? They said the CIA set him up. They used him to sell drugs. Okay, so do we believe him, who has done nothing for black people at all? Always remember that. Always remember the people you goat and gloat and glorify have not done anything for us, and they never brought out this information. They're not telling people, yo, stop selling drugs. The government created that so we kill ourselves and we would be criminalized. So wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a second. Hold up. Hold up. Fuck that. Hold up. So we would be criminalized. I'm gonna say that again. They brought in heroin to the blacks so that they would be criminalized. Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing? Fucking roaches. Now, people like Taz Exclusive will show a bunch of old clips of newspapers, and they'd be like, see, look what black people was doing. And this is why we were segregated. He's like, look, they were writing in the papers about black people. Okay, so if black people were already criminals, and it wasn't just propaganda making up stuff, then why would the president have to bring in heroin to criminalize black people? Niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing? Fucking roaches. Now I can hear people already. Well, he said the hippie white people that were anti-war. Hold up. Those are the same white people that are funding Ukraine. See, white people are against war when there's an agenda behind it. All them hippie cats from back in the day, they weren't fucking against the war because they so in love with the Vietnamese. They didn't march down the street with Negroes because they so in love with black people. Where's that money at? If the case was true, their offspring would have been broke off the bread. They would have never fucking tried to just have us in Hollywood and Bojangle and shit like that. So the hippie, also aka the bum, because that's another thing. They want you to be against war with a group of whites that weren't known for anything. These motherfuckers weren't known for shit. They would just sit around all day in peace and love, and all. They had no buildings. They had no business. Like, where were they trying to get you? With the heroin alone makes you, doped out and lazy. And then with you selling it, okay, it's going to create violence and chaos because that's what drugs do. All right. But then why would they link you up with a bum-ass white dude? Or bum-type white people that didn't have no business agenda at all. They just out here getting high. We're hippies. We're all about peace and love. Okay. Isn't there an offspring of that type of black people to this day in America? All these card reading, manifest, energy type, because we've already, well, never mind. Inky has already made a video about chakras, and he showed how it kind of got to America. It was through them hippies messing with them psychedelics, all that acid and stuff. That's mainly who was doing it. Okay, like I said, manifest, we're here. You'll be on a kid mission. You'll never get real business done. So people believe that Martin Luther King was assassinated. He had nothing to do with any dirt. He never told black people nothing. So you can't say they killed him for snitching. Saying I'm bringing my people in a burning building is not saying I'm clicked up with the Boule and the Masons. And that's why I'm a college kid, because I've been wore the fucking graduate hat. Remember, today they're indoctrinating you. And they got agents that they're creating. Okay, back then they were indoctrinating you. And they were making agents back then. How do I know this to be true? Because the first proclaimed black town is in the 1700s. But the first college is made in the 1800s. The first one that would accept Negroes is in 1824. So without universities, without college, without higher education, you guys had already built your own town. And many more. You know what I'm saying? Many, many more. All right. So I'm saying that to say this. Just like today, what has these universities done for the American Negroes? What has it done? And be honest with yourself. What has it done? Y'all got some dance squads. Y'all got entertainers. Y'all got some entertainers. Y'all got some entertainers. Wrestlers, basketball players, all that different stuff. There's no oil fields. There's no there's none of your own schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you add the years and you put together the facts that, and you have your own universities. That's another thing. You can't just blame the white dude. You have your own colleges. You got your own colleges. You have no new towns. You have no, predominantly black schools that are not public, program. It's not like other groups of people can't. It's not like other groups of people can't go to your school if they just don't want to. Let's say it like that. So they of course discriminate. They say it's not racism no more, but of course they discriminate because they don't go to your higher education. They only mess with you when it comes to bojangling, when it comes to dancing around, when it comes to acting an ass. That's when they mess with you. Other than that, your high degree knowledge, they not like not by the boatloads. Maybe two infused, but not to that high degree. Okay. Back to the goods. The point of this video in saying that Martin Luther King is the worst is because he not only didn't, it's time to stop singing and start swinging. He only did not do that. Nonviolent. Like, not only did he make you put your guard down, and then at the end say, "Oh, I brought you into a burning building." No, not even just that. It just so happens that the people, the children, Generation X, Y, and Z, are going to hear about and study and research and find out that they had a hand in your demise. It's not just that he hung out with them and he was cool with them, but he also linked up with Richard Nixon back in the 50s, the late 50s. And they're like, oh, when they were friends. Who ever said they were enemies? I still have the video of Jesse Jackson with two different shirts on at the assassination day. So I can't sit here and play stupid with you. I can't be like, I have a dream and all that. His dream was little black boys and little white girls holding hands. Okay. Isn't all his affairs with white women? Didn't he want to marry a white woman before Coretta? Yes. This is all facts. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter how, in awe that you get. The Reverend does it every Sunday to you. You know what I'm saying? The same Lord you praying on is the one that watched you get your nuts chopped off back in the day. He ain't make a move. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, oh, that's disrespectful. No. It's disrespectful to Sky Daddy, who is the fake version of the Lord that the white person gave you. That's why some black people are still in a slave mentality where they think that they're doing all this good stuff to die and go somewhere, when that doesn't make any sense. The physical body doesn't leave. Your spirit is going to be dealing with a whole nother frequency. It's going to have nothing to do with this pain and sorrow and all this stuff that you think of. You got that from Dante, you know what I'm saying? Inferno. That's where you got that from. That's some Greek stuff. They made that up. How do you know hell is not true? Because what's the second baptism? Fire. Why? Because when you're mad, aren't you hot? Okay. When you're in the zone, when you're winning, aren't you hot? Aren't you on fire? Okay. When you're enlightened, doesn't it feel like an eternal burn in your brain? Like, oh, like, whoa. Okay. That's the flame on top of Buddha's head. That's what it's saying. That's symbology, pictographs. That's what that means. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you this because you notice that the people that kept telling you nonviolent preach and all that different stuff, they never talked about the return of Christ. They don't talk about that energy. They don't talk about the person who's saying, I did not come for peace. I came with a sword. I'm here to chop heads off. Okay, why? Because that's supposed to be anointment. What are you anointing yourself with? MLK worked for the feds. He shook hands with Nixon, and then after he's mysteriously assassinated, Jesse Jackson, two different shirts, here comes the drugs. Both of these Boule, reverends, Malcolm and Martin, both of them get knocked off, and here comes all these drugs. And I know people will be like, oh, well, how is you going to say Malcolm X is involved? Bruh, He went to the Klan meeting with a life. And y'all don't claim that's the reason that he separated. Y'all claim because he was sleeping with a bunch of underage girls and having a bunch of babies at a wedlock. That's why he separated from Elijah Muhammad. So he was cool with the Boule deal with the Klan, the ones with the original crescent, moon, and star. Go look at the Shriner's hat. And then go look at the original Klan outfit. Why is the crescent, moon, and star the exact same way? So who brought Islam to America first? And I'm not saying, because I can hear people already be like, nah, the indigenous, that's cool. We can have that discussion later. Who brought Islam to these Negroes in the streets marching up and down? It had to be the white dude. It had to be, because he already had it. Who is Farad Muhammad? They claim he came off a boat or a plane and he's from the Middle East. They claim that. But then who's Double D Rod Ford? I forgot how you say the name. But people know who I'm talking about because he got a mugshot. And he looked just like the dude sitting to the side that's reading that book that all the Muslims worship. That's Farad. So why would there be a story about him having a criminal record and him being a whole nother person, a white man's name? And the Shriners in the Ku Klux Klan are before the NOIs. Y'all ain't talking about no back East Muslims because y'all don't act like them. Y'all don't dress like them. Y'all don't, only them Philly niggas do that. Y'all don't paint your beards like that. Y'all are not Sufi Muslims in America's NOIs. I'm saying that to say this. Martin Luther King was the worst because not only did he put these people's guard down, but he got them knocked off. He got them doped up and messed up. And can't nobody say, oh, he wasn't involved. I don't believe the nigga got killed. Jesse has 2 different shirts on. They literally had, and this is the Smithsonian, they literally had to chop and paste the tape. They fucked up. Like I said, I know why they did it, because this shit came out in black and white. There was no color back then. So on them TVs, and you know people was broke and they weren't making super big TVs back then. It's like this 10-inch, 12-inch joint. You looking at this black and white of them rolling up. You can't tell the green difference on the shirt. You can't tell. The only reason you would know is because of the middle part. Total different shirt. And their first one was a turtleneck. See, but that's from me being able to rewind, fast forward, rewind, fast forward. Back in the day, they didn't have that. They only had the projectors, and only the movie theater and rich white people had a projector. Didn't know regular people fresh off work, fresh out of school, sitting around the family watching TV. None of them had that. Nobody, and it was in black and white. The Jacksons is in the 70s, late 60s. They win that contest. You know what I'm saying? And they was mad because they lost. They got second place, but they won a color TV. You know what I'm saying? And they like, yo, you don't want your TV? And they're like, nah, forget that. Jackson's ain't second place. And later on, they show him sitting at the house watching black and white. He's like, man, we could have been watching color TV. Okay, so that's telling you how rare it was for people to have a color TV back then. It's about 68. You know what I'm saying? 68, like April. It's still mad early, bro. Like, most people can't even afford a color TV. Most people still sitting there with that black and white. So you couldn't see the shirt change. Y'all wouldn't be able to see that. But that happened. So he's cool with this nigga. He's cool with Nixon. He's shaking hands with him back in the 50s. He's cool with the fucking Rothschilds. And then you see people today, you know, we just got done discussing the whole Pac thing. It's like, this shit ain't new. This shit ain't new. But for a person to take your defenses down, get you ran out of your businesses, out of your towns, and make you switch with a party that was already like for dangling you from the jump. That in my book classifies as the worst. It's like Malcolm X really wasn't bad. Not in the sense that, you know, like he's a traitor or nothing. No, it's just Malcolm X has a lot of different contradictions. It's like, bro, you talk a lot of shit about white men, but you loved white women. You know what I'm saying? You talk about, you know, the pop of the alcohol bottle and stuff like that. Bro, you was a numbers runner. You was a gangster. You sniffed coke with fucking Archie and shit. It's like, bro, you was robbing people. You know what I'm saying? You was breaking in houses and shit. You was like the ultimate dirtbag. So for you to join a dirtbag group that's full of convicts, they literally, that's what they thrive on. Oh, we rehabilitate people. Into what? Into what? What are you rehabilitating them into? It's all better life. Into what? Y'all ain't got no secret handshakes. Y'all ain't got no codes. Y'all ain't got, come on, man. Knock it off, man. Why you think y'all wearing the suits? What do you think that represents? I'm not dumb. Y'all could have been switched that style up. Nope. Keeping it where you got it from, the Masons. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I'm saying that to say this. If you honestly believe that Martin Luther King, you know, let us, I have a dream and all that stuff. If you think that's working out for you as a melanated Negro in America, you are on dope. You crazy as hell. That shit don't make no sense. The only people that even talk that jargon is foreigners. Foreigners and fucking bootlegging niggas. Nobody talks about no fucking Martin Luther King. We all know that nigga was weak. Oh, but he talked about the land grants. Bruh, what does that matter? Why y'all bringing that shit up like he put you on? He didn't ask for that in the fucking Civil Rights Bill. Ain't that weird? Ain't that weird? Because people talk about the land grant, they don't even realize that's at the end. That's at the end after he's already signed the contract and he's in the burning building and he's already realized that he fucked up. Then he starts telling the facts. And you still fucking with him. A motherfucker waits till their last card is played. They're assed out. Now they want to keep it real and shit. Oh, well, see, what really happened was they had all these foreigners come in and they killed us off and took our land and gave these foreigners. And it's like, oh, not, bro, what the fuck was we marching for? Why the fuck was we marching for jobs instead of land? That's how you live, man. L's up. That's how you know this nigga's a fucking fruitcake weirdo. It's like, bro, what? You want to talk about rights and freedoms and shit instead of our land? Why wouldn't that be our main march? Fuck counting fucking jelly beans in a jar and be like, bitch, this is my fucking street. This is my shit. Y'all over here lying. It's like, nah. You couldn't go out like that. You couldn't be smart. That's why he in jail and shit. Pictures like this and shit. How the fuck is somebody in the cell with this nigga? I thought he's a criminal. He's supposed to be a fucking criminal. So they just letting him in. And remember, black people don't run nothing and stuff. So they just letting him in cells and shit. Acting. Taking pictures like this. Who the fuck took that picture? And they like, oh, it's this black dude. Didn't I tell you Martin Luther King Boule? Who the fuck would be taking a picture? So they letting black photographers go into fucking segregated South fucking jail cells and just take pictures of a civil rights leader that they don't like. Yo, there's no way that people can deny what I'm saying. How did y'all get them pictures? How did y'all get them not the mugshot. I'm not talking about the mugshot. I'm not talking about him sitting there with the number on. No. I'm talking about the one where he in the jail with his fucking hands like this Masonic symbol, like a motherfucker. They're like, oh, he praying. No. His hand weren't like this. His hands was like this. Motherfucker, he knows something. He knows something. That is exactly what that is. That's a knowing sign. Just like this. That's a knowing sign, motherfucker. Like, you know what? It's like, that's what that is. Just like the whole fucking, the ponder move. All that shit, bro, that's all Masonic. That's old as fuck. But it's like, how did you get that picture? How you get that picture at segregation times? And here's the funny thing. If people be like, oh, no, that wasn't down south. That was up north. That's even worse. That's even worse. So you tell him, remember, he's rolling with the Democrats. That's where he's telling y'all to go. So who is he kicking it with? Who is he here with? Jake Rothschild, Richard Nixon. Oh, Richard Nixon, no, that's a Republican. Don't sound like it to me. It don't sound like to me if Tricky Dicky is putting drugs in the hood. Even fucking Black Dynamite fucking showed y'all that. It's like, bro, that shit's not fake. But no, they these black people, they don't know what they talking about. And I can see why. Because remember, y'all was mixing real information with that old magic hoopla shit and that racism shit and that confusing shit. That's why right after the CIA and y'all knew that was going on in the 70s, y'all turned into Crips and Bloods. Ain't that weird? Ain't that weird? Oh, they flooding the hood with drugs, y'all. And then y'all turn into cliques and crews. Ain't that weird? Ain't that weird? It's like, it was a setup, but I can see why it happened. All these criminals come in. Nobody's got a strong fist. Why? Because y'all left on nonviolent peace. I love my brothers, everybody. They just lost in the game that Martin Luther King proceeded to fucking be involved in. He was rolling around with the one that at the end of the day ended up putting the dope in the neighborhoods. Martin Luther King don't seem like the type that was kicking it with hippies, but his words were. Who was trying to be cool and peaceful with all black people during the fucking 60s, Martin Luther King? The hippies. Yeah, man, let's kick it, let's chill, let's get high. That weed turned into heroin. You see the white boy today. Fucked up. This motherfucker rose the country. Out there with a sign talking about, can you spare some change? I'm sitting here dying laughing like, what the fuck is wrong with these motherfuckers? Are you crazy? Are you local? You letting all these motherfucking immigrants in, giving them jobs, putting them up and all different types of shit. You got all these different Americans that have been here. You ain't doing nothing but none of them. And then you come around asking for some change. You lost your goddamn mind. Get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. It's not even just the complexion for the protection. No, it's common sense. Get the fuck away from me. You've had your whole life no fucking obstacles to get your shit together, and you rather get high and fuck up your life. And you're going to come to a nigga that has sold drugs, has been high, has fucked up his life, has been good, has been chill. But it's like all these situations happen when you move when you keep it moving. And then you would have the audacity to ask me something, and you don't even have no motherfucking like higher thought. I thought this was your game. Like, Paleface, I thought this was your game. I thought it was your higher degree science that we were entering. Okay, well, why am I more masterful than you? Like, in reality, not, man, fuck Elon Musk. I don't care about that shit. And we got a new fucking rotating head seat. Yes. Has a DVD on one side, the fucking cushion on the other. It's like, who cares? That ain't doing nothing. Especially for the 50,000 patents that I got. I don't need none of y'all new inventions. I really don't. That's the craziest shit. I don't need none of y'all new inventions. All I need is agriculture, unity, and motherfucking business. And that's it. That's pretty much it. The Lord already, he's all three of those. So it's like, I ain't worried about that. I already know the Lord. He already knows because he's telling me to tell you this. Like, yo, the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? You've been duped, you've been had, you've been bamboozled, ran amok, led astray, fucking pimp slapped the shit out of him for like 80, 90 years, and this shit is stupid. It's like now it's to the point where this shit is stupid. This shit is really dumb and it's really weak-minded. It's weak-minded punk stuff. How are we gonna let these niggas get away when we know they did business with these same motherfucking devils that ended up putting the dope out there? They told us. The dude is reciting what the CIA fucking homeboy of Richard Nixon said. The whole point was to knock off the radical fucking left and the fucking black people. And people think that that means we're friends. No, dummy. Hell fucking no. He wanted to knock off the radical left because those are bitch ass children of his. That's what he's saying. He's like, these motherfuckers ain't even down with it. They sitting over here. They want to get high. They don't want to go to work. Fuck the establishment. The establishment, you fascists. It's like these motherfuckers ain't putting in no work. You had land, grains, all types of shit. They trying to this is the white liberal. He trying to piggyback off your story. You really have a story. He don't have no fucking story living on fucking Sesame Street his whole life. Nigga, he had everything. He went on trips and shit. This motherfucker 6 years old on a fucking caravel or whatever they call him, the boat and shit. He been doing that. Been having lobster dinners and shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why the fuck are you listening to him? Same thing with Antifa. All the motherfuckers was rich white kids. All of them are fucking up the hoods to go back home. That's why the Latino was smart. He like, look, any of you motherfucking BLM motherfuckers come over here and break anything, I'm going to shoot you in your face. And be like, oh, that's messed up unity. There ain't no unity when you're destroying my neighborhood. Fool. I don't have time to play this dumb game with you. I don't care how emotional you are. I don't care. You come over here with that, I'm doming you. And it's like, all right, homie, no disrespect. You damn right ain't no disrespect because I don't have nothing to do with that. Don't come at me, try to force me to fucking riot with you about your situation, motherfucker. You don't give a fuck about Pepe. What about fucking Hector? What about Lorenzo? All the fucking Spanish stories and shit. You ain't bringing them up. So it's like, how you gonna come over there and have them try to love for your story? It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. The fuck out of here with your emotional ass. And that's all that shit was emotion anyway. That's why they took 90 million and dipped. Didn't give nigga not a nothing. They wasn't supposed to. They part of the CIA, part of the FBI, part of George Soros scheme. And people are like, how the fuck could you say that? I don't fucking know. They over there tripping off Trump with some shit that he's legally able to classify and declassify. It's called fucking George Bush Sr., nigga. It's called Eagle. Go look up that document, motherfucker. He been let that shit be known. I am the president. I run the military. I got the guns. I classify and declassify what the fuck I want. If you don't get out of my face, you gonna go to fucking Guantanamo Bay. Nigga, you might not make it out. And that's facts. That's how the president's supposed to run it. But, you know, they spooked y'all out with racism, weak president plan. How the fuck you gonna say this nigga's a bully and weak at the same time? He's not good at being a president. He's not strong enough to take the seat in the position. Oh, he's such a bully. He's spellcasting, emotionalism. They're actors, yo. That's both sides. No. Some mainly, but that's neither here nor there. I said it to say this. As a group, not knocking none of you, but what I am saying is, yo, this shit is frustrating. It's frustrating when that's what it is. Forget hating on each other for what coast you're from. No, that's what it is. They lied to the group. They lied to the group, and they told us that these were the ones to follow. And at the end of the day, you really don't need nobody to follow. You got the Ethernet now. It's the dawn of information. That's what they keep saying. It's the age of information. Okay, what does that mean? Does it mean you can make a new computer, you idiot? No, that means you need to research what has already been that they're not teaching you in the robot program system so you can challenge their minds and show them at the end of the day, y'all been lying like a motherfucker. Them dudes been dirty. That's why we ain't went nowhere. We're the only group here that is really like warranted a lot of different stuff in a lot of different ways. None of these other motherfuckers deserve shit. They can talk all that. Well, we don't deserve what. Yeah, you bring up the wrong talking points. You talk about slavery. Who the fuck talking about that? Why would I talk about slavery? Who cares about that? I would talk about before the 60s. I'd be like, bro, what the fuck are y'all talking about, bro? Y'all owe us so much money, it's ridiculous. From banks that y'all fucking robbed to towns that you fucking burnt down, flooded, like all what? Let's talk about the 50,000 patents, bro. Why do people look at you like you invented the flushing toilet when you didn't? Remember, you had the outhouse, my nigga. We remember slavery, the outhouse. They like, that is true. We went from the outhouse to a flushing toilet in the house. How'd that happen? A Negro. A Negro. And guess what? I didn't even make it for the house originally. I made it for the trains. So I'm on the go with my knowledge already. And remember, I'm supposedly an ex-slave, which don't make no sense. The slavery that they tell you is bogus. We wasn't no fucking slaves. We was masons. We was master masons. And it don't mean like they're lodge and shit. No, like with your hands, like we were just geniuses. You got to think about people like Benjamin Banneker. You would not have New York. You wouldn't have Philadelphia. Hell, you wouldn't even have parts of Boston. What am I supposed to say? You motherfuckers mad at me because I invented a clock that was better than the clock they came over here with? They're like, why are you mad at me? You're mad at me because I invented the almanac? The thing that is basically a fucking computer. It's like, bro was so before his time. Benjamin Banneker was like, he created the book computer, which is the almanac, which is keeps track of everything that happens. It was the Negro invented it. Y'all just keep talking about rock and roll, jazz, blues, and rap. No, fuck all that, motherfucker. Bro, I invented the fucking like 4-cylinder for the car, bro. I invented the Thermo King. I'm the reason that your cold products can make it from like one state to 3 other ones. Have your fresh fucking frozen fish and steaks, and I'm the reason that happens. And everybody just looking at me like I'm just a thug, ghetto, boot gangster. And it's like, nah, bro, we going down the archives. We showing people that at the end of the day, it's like, you're right, the Boule is scum. Yo, I'm glad you said that. Boule is scum. I will agree with you on this. Like, cause I know you're not telling me. I know you're not trying to tell me. What? Yo, you gotta open your ears a little bit. Realize something. I'm not out here trying to hurt no feelings. I'm just calling it what it is. And I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over the fame of, hoochie's pregnant and thugs that wear jewelry and tight pants, but they sag and they look like they want to get their booty played with. It's just weird. Like, I'm kind of over it. Like, I don't know if y'all is, but I'm kind of over it. You know what I'm saying? Strong, hardworking man. And I've been through that side of the fence. Like, that's what's so funny to me, to a person who like switches their life. That's what's so funny to me, because motherfuckers be acting like they really with it. And like, they don't even know. Like, it's right over there. It's already there. Like, bro, while you're talking about being active, I'm already thinking about pushing your nose through your fucking head. It's like, I'm already there. I'm already there. But just like the samurai, you got to know a liberal art. Every samurai, like real shit, had to know a liberal art. They had to know how to garden or write poetry or something. They had to know how to do something, paint. Like, you had to have something to release because it's balanced. This shit ain't balanced. Motherfucker told us all this piece. He over there cheating on his wife, sleeping with white girls, doing business with gay dudes, doing business with the Boule, doing business with the Masons, doing business with the Rothschilds, doing business with the president, and motherfuckers got 2 different shirts on at his fake ass fucking assassination. And I'm supposed to fucking be ooh and ah. I'm supposed to be ooh and ah for a situation I wasn't at, but I'm G enough to fucking check the Smithsonian and see the switches of shirts, and now I'm supposed to believe that everything is just kosher. Everything, nothing foolish happened at all. Just like the Malcolm X assassination, 21 shots, ketchup stains. He was there too long. That shit should have been juicing. Like, it don't make no sense. Well, a lot of that shit didn't make no sense because we didn't have to stop and rewind. We couldn't change shit up. We couldn't show what is. So I say that to say this. Yo, man, be mindful. Be mindful of how long and how far down you're going to go, that bullshit hole. Because you might go so far that you hate yourself. And I don't want people to be like that. I'm saying that to say this. I think Martin Luther King was the worst, man. Hands down, I think he was the worst, bro. Because he came off so cool. Like if he wasn't dirty. You know what I'm saying? He came off so cool like he's your friend. And it's like, nah, because that's how everybody perceives him at the end. They're like, yo, he was such a great guy. And it's like, nah, bro. Nah, bro. It seems like he was dirty as fuck, bro. That's all I'm saying. And y'all do your research on your own. Everything I gave you, you can look up yourself. So, you know, I remember, I'm just giving my opinion. There's no honesty in it. There's no facts. This is not from the heart. It's just my opinion. You know, everybody has an opinion. Go look the shit up, man. And yo, me and the Hoax got something coming soon, man. Like real shit. Because this Chris Carroll, claiming that, you know, Keefe D is gonna get knocked off in prison. Why would it be him saying that of all people? Why would it be him? The cop. Maybe because that's what it was always supposed to be anyway. But whatever, man. You know, what do I know? I don't know nothing, right? I'm just here. Goes.